What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So as I said in my video from yesterday, I really want to be consistent and almost use this channel kind of like a trading journal. We are going to get into my trade from today. I made a small trade trying to get back in the game, get back in the routine. So we are going to talk about that towards the end of this video. Before we do, though, just to sort of spark the interests of you know, people out there that are maybe following the same markets and assets and equities that I'm following, we're going to go through just some general news to kind of warm up a little bit. The first thing I really want to talk about is gold and silver. I did trade the SLV ETV. And like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later on. But we're going to start with gold and silver. Make sure to give this video a big fat like. Comment down below what equities or assets are you following or holding. What is on your watch list? I'm going to try to keep it positive today. We'll talk about gold and silver. We'll also talk about EV, the EV market, NIO, you know, the competition to Tesla. And I want to talk about commodities, oil prices, and just some general stock news. So gold and silver closed very strongly at the end of the year. We're now in 2021, which is really hard to believe. Let me turn this mic down just a little bit because it seems to be peaking. We're in 2021, so silver closed above 26 at the end of the year. So now we're at, you know, $27. I think silver is over $27 right now. Now, if you are holding silver, that's good because the silver you're holding is now worth more per ounce. But as a buyer, I'm not too happy about this, right? I was kind of hoping that silver would crash before the end of the year, and it never did because I would like to get in at a lower price. Many of you can probably relate to that if you are stacking silver. The week opened up, according to Kitco News, with gold up 1.34% and silver actually outperforming gold at nearly 3% up. In the overnight session, we talked about this in my video from yesterday, and I'll show you a chart later on. We talked about how silver was kind of in a wedge pattern, and it did break out of that wedge pattern, and it looks like it's going for an exponential move towards the upside. We are in a daily supply area, so there may be a little bit of a short-term pullback in silver. You do have rising infections. You have stimulus, right? Money printing. You have the dollar losing strength. The dollar is weakening against the other fiat currencies. So all of this combined, you know, these are the perfect conditions for precious metals. In my opinion, the reason I'm stacking precious metals is because I do think silver will see $50 again. I think it's possible that silver will see triple digits within my lifetime. You know, you think about the silver dime, right? The constitutional pre-1965 silver dimes. Back then, they would buy a candy bar. One dime could get you a candy bar. Now a candy bar is almost $2, but the dime is worth about $2. That same silver dime is still worth the same amount in fiat, right? If you convert it to fiat, it will still buy you a candy bar. So just imagine as we, you know, as the inflation gets worse, as prices start going up, right? The price of precious metals is obviously going to go up. So I'm stacking bars, stacking jewelry. I am getting into gold. They talk about in this Kitco News article the OPEC meeting, right? OPEC and the oil producing nations. This does have an effect on precious metals as well. You know, it's all relative. Everything sort of ties together. But at the OPEC meeting, they decided, well, they said that there was plenty of downside risk in the oil markets for the first half of 2021. This is OPEC. This is the oil-producing nations admitting this. Now, you also have Bitcoin. That's up to what, like 34,000, 35,000 right now. Ethereum is approaching 1,000, right? Ethereum is up 62%. So the cryptos are going crazy as well. Let's move on to NEO. Then we're going to get into general commodities. The reason I'm following NEO is because it's a stock out of China. It's an EV stock, right? Electric vehicles. Some people are calling it Tesla's competition. NEO's deliveries were strong. They released their numbers at the end of the year, but the stock actually fell about 10%. Despite strong November numbers, according to Barron, NEO stock dropped more than 10% the day it was released. According to Barron's and according to a lot of people, the EV market is definitely, it's a bull market right now. I do think electric vehicles are going to be the future, right? I think this is coming, regardless of, how we feel about oil and just oil in general. Electric vehicles are coming. This phase is approaching us. And that being said, commodities is cool. Silver and gold is cool. Getting back to sort of these basic, God's money or these basic natural commodities, I think is a good thing. But also, I'm interested in having exposure to things that are futuristic like electric vehicles. And I'm also interested in trading short-term option contracts, on NEO. Someday, maybe on Tesla. I don't have enough money to really trade Tesla contracts, but someday, hopefully, I will. You've got analysts that are calling NEO a buy right now. I've watched NEO go from about maybe $15 when I started following it. Now it's almost at $50. Stocks and Bitcoin are massive bubbles, says longtime bear David Rosenberg. David Rosenberg, a big investor, hedge fund guy, he says that even though these bubbles, right, in Bitcoin and stocks, even though these bubbles are huge, he thinks there's still a lot of upside, that the bubbles are going to get bigger. And this is sort of what Peter Schiff says. I follow Peter Schiff on YouTube and on Twitter, and he basically says that, Bitcoin is a bubble. The bubble could get bigger. He's been kind of wrong. Schiff has been wrong about, the bubble bursting for Bitcoin. But when you see these rapid price increases, it does become more dangerous, right? Because the downside becomes bigger. I'm not hating on Bitcoin, not hating on, the stock market. But when you see these huge price increases, right, the fall down, when you turn around and look down, right, it's a lot bigger. There's a lot more risk there. I personally don't really know how I feel about the cryptocurrency space. It's interesting. The computer science behind all of it is interesting, but you even have like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger calling out Bitcoin for being a bubble. It's interesting. It's inspiring. If you're making money in the cryptos, God bless you. But if I'm not going to buy fiat currency, why would I buy any currency? That's the way Mineko64 puts it. And, until I get more information or until I'm convinced or until there's a, pullback, I just don't know how I feel about it. I also feel like the herd is kind of piling into cryptocurrencies right now. And I like to try to stay away from that because I've seen a lot of stocks go up and down based on sort of the herd mentality, piling in and then everybody exiting. I do not want to get burned there. And I also, I don't know, I just feel something spiritually calling me towards commodities like gold, silver, uranium, copper, things of this nature. This is what I am following personally. You don't have to do it, but this is what I'm watching. Speaking of commodities, let's segue into the CRB. This is one of my favorite indexes. As you can see, it does appear that from the lows in March and May, it does appear that commodities is making higher lows and higher highs, right? We appear to be in some sort of bull market for commodities. And as long as this trend keeps going and as long as it breaks the high, this is basically an average of all these different commodities. You've got crude, Brent, natural gas, you've got gold, silver, copper, lithium, wheat, coffee, cotton, zinc. All of these commodities are, I think it's like 75 different commodities, are averaged into this index. And we are starting to break key levels. If we can get up above this, 190 area, That's going to be really good. The other reason that I'm following this CRB index chart is because higher commodity prices in general will support gold and silver prices. So this is another reason why I'm very interested in this index. But like I said, just kind of getting back to God's money, getting out of the system. I don't hold a lot of my money in savings accounts. I am holding some money in trading accounts or investment accounts. But, again, at least you have a return, or at least the possibility of a return. If you're just holding your money in, like Chase Bank or Bank of America or something like that, if anything, you're probably paying them fees to hold your money. And the other thing to think about too is putting a lot of money in the bank. You're basically giving them an unsecured cash loan. That's never worked out good for people in the 1800s, for people in the 1700s. Throughout history, we have seen bank runs. We have seen, these are the most prolific criminal cartels. Without getting too political here, I want to keep my money, have access to it myself, keep it in hard assets that will appreciate. And I just don't like holding a lot of dollars from all the research I've done, all of the videos I've watched about it, everything that I have sort of learned the past year. Because this was definitely not my mindset a year ago. I was not thinking about any of this stuff. This is very, very serious, right? It's real. And as the dollar devalues, the commodities prices are going to rise. So the CRB index, very, very, very important. Like I said, rising commodity prices in general will support gold and silver. But getting back to God's money, getting back to natural resources, it just seems more tangible than putting all my money in some speculative EV stock or speculative, tech stock, artificial intelligence, bioengineering. They have so many different platforms and equities out there, but are they in bubbles? I think they are, right? I think there is a lot of downside risk that I'm just simply not willing to take right now. Oil prices, right? Oil prices slip after OPEC warns of downside risks. We talked about this briefly in the beginning of my video, or towards the beginning of my video. This is the Economic Times, I guess, out of Singapore. Oil prices edged lower on Monday, the first day of 2021 trading. That's the other thing too. Yeah, this is the first day of the trading year. OPEC and ally producers discuss output levels for February. Brent crude for March is at $51.76 a barrel. That's down about 0.08%. And you also have the Texas Intermediate crude fell 9 cents to $48.43 a barrel. Now, the Secretary General of OPEC said on Sunday that while crude demand is expected to rise by 5.9 million barrels per day, the group sees plenty of downside demand risks in the first half of 2021. So they say that, yes, this year, oil, it's expected to rise by about 5.9 million barrels per day. That would be 95.9 million barrels per day this year. That being said, they are admitting that there is downside risks. There is a potential pullback in oil prices, especially in the beginning of this year, right? If we have more lockdowns, if Europe goes into the lockdown, if the United States has more severe, strict lockdowns, this will definitely hurt oil prices. OPEC also says, Mohammed Barkindo says that, quote, "We are only beginning to emerge from a year of deep investment cuts, huge job losses, and the worst crude oil demand destruction on record." So there could still be a ways to go. I don't want to get too much deeper into this article, but you've got the United States. Crude oil production stayed under pressure from weak prices and tepid demand, down more than 2 million barrels per day. You've got all these countries that are sort of vying for their spot as the oil-producing country in OPEC, or one of the oil-producing countries in the world. And so there's a lot of geopolitical drama there to pay attention to, because it affects the oil prices. The oil prices affect the markets in general. It affects commodities. It does affect gold and silver, and it affects our everyday lives. So oil price is definitely something that to be paid attention to, right? More than I care about the price of Tesla or the price of Amazon right now, or, if Apple is breaking out of some trading range, more than I care about all of that, I care about commodity prices, gold and silver prices, the CRB index, and oil. Things like this. This is what I'm following. You don't have to. This is what I'm following. Let me know in the comments what you're following down below. And I like to read these articles from CNBC before I trade, and we are going to get into my trades here. But 5 things to know before the stock market opens, right? You have Wall Street still climbing, right? The equities market still climbing into the new year here. You've got the Georgia runoffs to determine the Senate balance of power. If the Republicans win in Georgia, it's going to be much harder for Biden to get a lot of his policies through. If the Republicans lose, Biden is going to have, majorities to support his policies, right? The Green Initiative policies, all this kind of stuff. We got to pay attention to it. There's supposedly this audio of Trump trying to get Georgia election officials to find votes. You never know these days, though. I mean, if it comes from CNN, it's just so hard for me to take it seriously because, they've lied about so much recently. I'm not going to get into all of it. And then what else here? You've got the CV numbers are very high. Supposedly they, have a rollout. But yet everything is going higher. Supposedly, I did see an article from Johns Hopkins student newspaper that talked about how the overall fatalities in America have not risen at all. There's also weird numbers about the flu, right? Where have, the flu deaths collapsed this past year? Where'd they all go? Kind of interesting. Just questions, right? Not saying anything here, just not making a statement, just questioning. And Tesla delivers 500,000 vehicles in 2020. NIO is only delivering like 7,000 vehicles, right? I think it's like 7,000, could be 6,000 or something. Tesla is delivering 500,000. So, Tesla to NIO, there really isn't, even though a lot of people say there's competition, Tesla is still the king right now. Shares of Tesla surged more than 740% over the past 12 months. Again, I'm not in Tesla, not really interested in getting into Tesla. I think it's very speculative. Could they justify their share prices in the future with earnings? Definitely. It's definitely possible. But right now, this is all speculation. The what's priced in is the possibility of their future earnings. So let's go ahead and get into the trade. Okay, so we talked about everything that I'm looking at in general, but I do want to talk about my trade. Today I traded SLV. Now, it was a small trade, right? It's not like I made $50 or $100. I came out with about a 0.8% gain, which amounted to about $4 in my account. Now, I am happy with this because it was a trade that was well planned, well executed. I left a little money on the table, right? I left like $2 or $3 on the table. But I bought the contract. I bought a call right about here. Let me go to a 5-minute chart to break this down a little bit more for you guys. All right. And I'm actually going to take myself out just in case we get any lag or anything like that. You can see, we broke out of that range. SLV is an ETF that basically tracks. It's about $1 or so behind the real-time price of silver. But we had a demand area that I charted. Demand areas are periods of consolidation followed by a move to the upside. For a supply area, it's a period of consolidation followed by a move to the downside. I'll do a video about supply and demand later. But we had a demand area that I charted in pre-market. Now, we have a daily supply area above. So I knew it was unlikely that it would get above that price. But as soon as we came on the 5-minute chart into this pre-market demand area, I decided to go for it and try to catch a quick scalp. So I entered one SLV call contract it was a strike price of $26, right? We're in the $25 range right now. It was a strike price of $26. Let me just see if I can find the option chain here. I bought the contract for $33. So the $26 contract is only $1 or $2 more right now than I had purchased it for. But I did manage to sell it for a few dollars higher. So I got in right here on this green candle. You can see how there's some support. There's a huge bottoming tail. And I held pretty much to this green candle right here. I could have held a little bit longer to really let it rally into supply. But I decided to, take my small profit, get out and sort of start the year off, the trading year off with a decent trade. And I also, was disciplined. I didn't get in any other trades. What I'm going to go for right now is consistency. Try to make 1 or 2 trades every single day. Also try to practice sitting on my hands a little bit more. A little bit later on, you can see that this demand zone was broken, right? We went lower than that. So this now invalidates the demand area. But silver did make a very big move. I can show you the futures contracts here. Right, we broke out of this wedge in the over the weekend, and here are the silver futures. Let me show you this on a larger time frame. We'll look at the 4-hour chart. There was that wedge pattern here, and bam, we broke right out of it. And I made this video yesterday with the wedge pattern last night, saying that I think we were going to see a move to the upside, and that's exactly what happened. But all in all, I'm very happy with my, not SVM, SLV trade. Very happy with it. Because we are in sort of daily supply, you can see I've got a chart, or I've got this daily supply area charted from, a couple of months back. I do think it's possible that this will pull back maybe down here to the $25 range. It would be great if we went lower on SLV. In silver in general, if we pulled back even lower, I would be happy about that. If silver fell to $5 an ounce, you bet I am going to keep buying. But I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, yes, I just wanted to show you my trade. I do have all my trade history where I'm, tracking it not only here, but also manually in a spreadsheet, which I think is very important. And then I just sort of treat these videos as my trading journal. So if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Like I said, let me know what you're following. Where are you putting your money? And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Hopefully this offers, some inspiration or motivation for some of you out there that want to get into trading yourselves, and have a great rest of the week. As always, until next time, God bless.